Hey everybody, this is Dust for Dusted on Gaming, continuing our modern 100 treasure chest challenge with Boros Burn, also supplementing our test for the RPTQ. This is Boros Burn with a couple Dire Fleet Daredevils in the sideboard and some other slight changes over some of the lists we've been running in the challenge. Added a third Rest in Peace, cut the Wear Terrors completely from the sideboard. Running 2 copies of Dire Fleet Daredevil in addition to 3 Rest in Peace. Dire Fleet Daredevil is in there to theoretically help combat the Black-Green X decks, being able to flash back their Fatal Pushes or their Cast Downs or Assassin's Trophies on their own threats in addition to having another threat. So kind of a pseudo Snapcaster-esque effect against the Black-Green X decks. We can also bring it in against things like Just Guy or the Burn Mirror. So it's a card I'm trying out. Last time I played this deck, I played 4 on the sideboard, but it was more of kind of a just like casual whatever. Didn't play it through a league, so it was kind of hard to get a true gauge as to what was going on. So the main deck is 100% back to normal. The 12 creatures, 28 spells, 20 lands we've been running, so Grim Lavamancers are back in the sideboard since, I just basically flip-flop them between the Skull Cracks and the main deck. So, that's pretty much the deck. Still running 4 Path to Exile, 3 Rest in Peace, the 2 Firecrafts. So, see how this plays out. Into match 1. Obviously, you can kind of see what the result of the league was if you want to look ahead. So, first match is against Black-Green Rock. Of course, we don't know when we play this hand, but the hand's obviously pretty good. We've got a Swift Spear, a bunch of spells, so. And our opponent's on the play, doesn't do anything with their Burnt Catacombs. We start beating down with a Swift Spear. They play a Dark Confidant, knowing they're playing against Burn. Go ahead and start swinging here. They choose not to block. We bolt them. Opponent flips a Tireless Tracker off of that. Go ahead and blaze, get that out of the way, hit them for a bunch. They'll push one of our dudes. Play a Brutality. They don't escalate it. We suspend 2 Rift Bolts. Plays a Scavenging Ooze. Goes to 9. We just Boros Charm them. And that's game number 1. Game number 2. So, sideboarding in this matchup. We take out the Searing Blazes, board in Searing Blazes and 2 Eidolons. We bring in the 2 Dire Fleet Daredevils and the 4 copies of Path to Exile. This is our hands. Pretty good in the matchup. Obviously, depending on what our opponent's got. Inquisitions us, takes us Swift Spear, which I found interesting. Suggests to me that they're a little low on lands, maybe. They push that, and then they Surgical Extraction, which was a little bizarre. Kind of hoping to mana screw us, I guess. Found that very frustrating that our opponent would do something that silly. But whatever. I guess if you don't have a lot of cards for the matchup, you do what you can. Opponent cracks that. We bolt them. We Boros Charm. Well, go ahead and attack here. Boros Charm them. They have an Assassin's Trophy. Just funny, because in one hand they're like trying to mana screw us, on another hand they're like giving us lands with Assassin's Trophy. So kind of a weird thing overall for the Black-Green deck. Suspect their deck was not well set up for the matchup, so I mean, I guess we shouldn't complain. It's our first win against straight Black-Green, so Yeah. And then... Alright, so match number 2. Playing against somebody from Hasbro. Faithless Looting. Good old Dredge. Starts swinging in here. Plays a Slaughter Horn. We're stuck on lands. We start attacking. They hit a Narcomoeba. Get a bunch of Amalgams. They hit a Creeping Chill. They get a boatload of power. And then we concede. Because, you know, butt whoopings are butt whoopings. Sideboard, brought in the 3 copies of Rest in Peace and 2 of the copies of Searing Blood, boarded down the Eidolons and 1 copy of Riftbolt. And then our opener. Opener's pretty functional. We don't have Rest in Peace, but this is the makings of like a turn 3 kill under the right circumstances. Like 2, 4, 7, 10, and then 12, 15, 18. So if they shock themselves, we could theoretically kill them on turn 3, and I think that's too good of a hand to pass up. We go play Shriekhorn, we start attacking. I screw up sequencing here a little bit. I should have either play the Sacred Foundry or the Lava Spike here. In the end, with this Creeping Chill and hitting a bunch of lands and crap, it doesn't terribly matter. Actually, does that matter? So our opponent would be at 4 here, and then 1? So if we play this last turn, our opponent would be at 4. I could put them to 1. Narcomoeba. Narcomoeba. So our opponent would be at 4 right now. Wouldn't have this Lava Spike in our hand. And then they hit the 4th Creeping Chill. That's pretty much the game with all the power they have in play. There's no way we can come back from that point. So, 3 Rest in Pieces, obviously not enough against our friend Dredge. Then, forget exactly which matchup this was. Obviously the hand's pretty good here. Oh, this is against Mono Red Bedlam, or Mono Red Arc-like Phoenix. Start the beatdown plan. They don't have a bolt. Have a good draw here. Our opponent concedes. Because I happen to know what matchup this was because earlier in the day when we played Grixis Death Shadow, this was one of the opponents we played. So, sideboarding. We brought in 2 copies of Rest in Peace, the 2 Dire Fleet Daredevils. It's a bit of a nombo. I don't want to bring in the full 3 Rest in Peace in this matchup, because it is a pseudo burn mirror, and at the same time, Dire Fleet can be good against their spells. So it was definitely a matchup where it was worth bringing in Dire Fleet. Stands pretty good in most matchups, so we're definitely going to keep. Opponent spikes us. We Swift Spear them. They Swift Spear us. They spike us. Go ahead and blaze this guy. Tormenting Voice. Fiery Temper our dude, which is fine. Play Bolt. Go ahead and do that. They have to bolt our Eidolon. Swift Spear. Goblin Guide. Opponent plays Risk Factor. We just let them draw all the cards. Go and Helix them, and then Boros Charm them. And that was the game. So, it's basically Boros versus Mono Red Burn in some regards, except Mono Red Burn has a little bit more reach. So, it's definitely an interesting matchup. Believe this was the actual Burn Mirror. This hand's pretty reasonable in most circumstances. Opponent goes on Swift Spear. We're like, well, crap, we didn't draw land. Just go ahead and bolt their dude. They do nothing here. They just Helix us. Rift Bolt their face. We drew a land. Opponent Boros Charms us. We Helix them. Opponent comes with the Goblin guy. That's fine. Go ahead and Boros Charm them. It's unlikely the opponent can burn us out from here. So we just go ahead and take this hit. See a Lava Spike on top of our deck. Do that, and then spike them. So, sideboarding in this matchup. Brought in 2 Path to Exile and the 2 Direfleet Daredevils for our 4 copies of Eidolon of the Great Revel. Don't like Eidolon on the draw or in the burn matchup all that much, period. This hand, we have a Direfleet Daredevil, but we're unlikely to cast it given the land situation. But, I mean, just the rest of this hand, couple Helixes, a Swift Spear, a Rift Bolt. If we hit lands, we're in great shape. Opponent goes Goblin Guide. We play Swift Spear and attack. They play another Goblin Guide. Once again, miss on lands. Spend the Rift Bolt attack here. They attack. Put us to 7. Lava Spike us to 4. Go ahead and Rift Bolt one of their dudes. Continue attacking. We hold up this to be able to get another Goblin Guide trigger, otherwise we would have missed a point of damage there. Alright, there's that. Go ahead and do that. So, Helix them. We know they didn't have a 1-mana spell last turn, so it's unlikely they would be able to do a whole lot. So we go ahead, Helix them, go to 5. So we have to cross our fingers here because Boros Charm off the top kills us here. Opponent plays a land, puts us to 1, suspends a Rift Bolt. We go ahead and Rift Bolt them, and then rip a Boros Charm to kill them. So, a little bit lucky there. Otherwise, we could have, like, Helix them to stay alive, but then, like, any burn spell they hit there, we're just dead. So, very interesting matchup. Direfleet was potentially good there. And then the final matchup was a rematch against a different version of Green-Black Rock, and this person came to play. Hand is excellent in almost any matchup, other than maybe like Storm or something. We do have a lot of pressure. When it goes 5 points of damage for the burn deck, never a good thing. Or against the burn deck, never a good thing. Inquisitions takes away our creature, which was interesting. Or our Lava Spike instead of our creatures. They go to 7 here. They try to screw us on lands. Little do they realize we have another land drop. Going to attack here. They push. So we just hold up Skullcrack instead. And they play main deck Kitchen Finks. We Skullcrack them. So, notice something important. Our opponent's got Kitchen Finks in their main deck. So, it's unlikely, and they also showed us Kalidas off of one of the Goblin Guide triggers, so they are well built for the burn matchup, which a lot of green-black decks are already pretty decent, but this one was particularly hateful. We brought in same configuration, 4 paths, 2 Direfleet Daredevils. We boarded out 2 Eidolons and 4 copies of Searing Blaze, which Searing Blaze might not have been the correct card to board out, but it's the cards we boarded out. This hand's obviously a mulligan. This hand's pretty decent. We top a Swift Spear, Inquisitions us. We have a 1-drop waiting on top of our deck that we knew about. Go ahead and Helix this. So our opponent obviously wants us to path that. Opponent plays a Kitchen Finks. We path that, but we're running low on resources. We go attack, we Boros Charm them, put them to 11. Then they play a Kalitas, and then we hate our lives. So, Ritual of Soot, and then our opponent's just going to start connecting too much. And we can't really kill this Kalitas. Maybe this was a tad early to concede. Like, we could have drawn a Path to Exile or something to deal with this. But at this point, it feels like if we don't answer the Kalitas for the next turn or two, it's pretty much problematic. So, was definitely incorrect to concede here this quickly. Maybe I should have taken like 1 or 2 draw steps. But on to game 3 of the match. This hand's pretty decent. We have one too many lands here, but overall the hand's reasonable. Opponent has nothing on 1. We have a 1-drop, another 1-drop. We bolt them, put them to 12. We have a flare. We're feeling pretty good. We're putting them to 5 here. They play Kitchen Finks, go to 6. Draw a Path to Exile, put them to 4. 2 here. Opponent plays Damnation. Then they play Scavenging Ooze and go to 5. So, and then things just kind of get goofy here. Draw another land, path their dude. They play Courser. They play Courser and go crazy. Go back to 6. We Searing Blaze their dude. They go back to 4. Play a Kalitas. Go ahead and put them to 1 here. Plays a Liliana, gets back a Kitchen Finks, and then gains 3 more life, and then it's pretty much the game. So this opponent was very much ready for the burn matchup. At least 1 copy of Kalitas and 1 copy of Kitchen Finks in the main deck. They also had Courser Crewfix floating around somewhere. They had Grim Flare and Scavenging Ooze. We didn't see any copies of Tarmogoyf, so maybe that was the cut in their particular list. But this this list just seemed particularly brutal for burn. But once again, Green-Black Rock has been a rough situation. So overall, 3-2. Updated stats. Now that we finally got treasure chest number 46. So match-wise, 61-34. Game-wise, 142-90. We beat Mono Red Phoenix. Relevant matchups still are... Our bad matchups are... Green-Black Rock. And Hollow One. And Dredge are kind of the, like... really messy, and I guess even to a certain extent Jund here. These are like the matchups that are just like absolutely miserable for us right now. And we're seeing more and more of them. We're seeing a lot of Rock, we're seeing a lot of Dredge. Even in our league with Grixis Death Shadow, we're seeing a lot of Dredge. So, I mean, overall, we've played Dredge quite a bit of late. We've played Jund somewhat of late. We've played Green-Black Rock of late. These are all pretty rough matchups. I mean, Jund feels a little bit closer than Rock, but Rock and Hollow One are pretty rough matchups. Dredge has been pretty rough. So, I think moving forward... we're going to have to probably include another copy of Rest in Peace, just because I'm not sure, like, what the cut is. Like, if I move a Grim to the main, cut something else, or I just cut a Searing Blood for it. But it does feel like that 4th Rest in Peace is almost a necessity against these Dredge decks to have a chance. Or I just gotta wipe my hands of it and just go, this isn't a matchup we can really win anymore. So it's kind of a decision that's got to be made there. If you have any opinions on that particular question, feel free to sound off in the comments. This was a rather quick playthrough. This is in matches that I played here and there this morning. So obviously, decks performing better. I think the Dire Fleets have definitely earned their spot of deserves more testing in terms of matchups. How effective they actually are, we still don't know. I don't think that we've actually cast them in any spot where they would be used to maximum effect yet. So, once again, that's kind of the problem of like running like cards like Direfleet Daredevil in a 20 land deck, much like trying to run Snapcaster and Kolaghan's Command in a Grixis Death Shadow mat deck. It's just sometimes it's hard to flashback spells for value if you need to hit like 3 and 4 mana, but I still like the theory of giving us some extra reach in the burn matchup, some extra reach in the Jeskai matchup, some extra removal spells against our opponent's creatures in the green-black rock matchups. So I do like it in the theory, and I think I'm a little more sold on it after this league than I was even after our testing games with the 4 on the sideboard. So definitely interested in trying out Direfleet more moving forward. Beyond that, not really a whole lot special going on in this league. 3-2 was nice to get back on the treasure chest scoreboard. Beyond that, not a whole lot going on here. But don't forget to give a like if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to help grow the channel. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get the notifications when we go live. This has been Dusk for Dusted on Gaming. Have a great weekend, everybody.